Hello and welcome to this video message which this week is for pupils and parents. Let me start with a question. What is the significance of the 19th of April 2021? Well, I can imagine one thing you might be coming up with. You might be thinking it's the first day of the summer term. Well, that's true, but for me, it has an even greater significance. There we are, the lights come on just to remind me of what the significance is. And that is that it is my 60th birthday. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, oh, blimey, I thought he was already a lot older than that. I fear the white beard doesn't do a great deal to enhance my youthful appearance. But no, I'll be 60 on that day, honest. Now, it's fairly usual for someone to retire in the year that they turn 60. And in conversations a few years ago now with the governing body, that was pretty well where I talked to them about where I would be looking to head in normal circumstances. Well, as you don't need me to tell you, the events of the last couple of years have not been normal circumstances. And when I came to have a conversation, my performance review discussion with some of the senior members of the governing body back at the start of the autumn term in sort of October time, I sort of said to them, well, look, it would feel wrong to retire in the summer of 2021 while we were still working through the impact of this terrible worldwide pandemic. And in discussion with them, I agreed instead that I would stay on as head teacher for another term, so that hopefully by the time we got to Christmas 21, the school would have come through the worst impact of the pandemic, and that I would be retiring instead of in the middle of a worldwide and national crisis, hopefully in a period of relative calm and stability. And that remains, I think, our hope that we all have, and I think a very reasonable expectation. And I must admit that aiming for a retirement date of Christmas 2021 has a few other attractions for me as well. First of all, it will be a point at which quite a lot of our extensive expansion work linked to our successful grammar school expansion bid will have been completed. Our new science block that I can just see taking shape in the window outside my office will have been completed. We're still hoping that around about October 2021 the new block will be opened. The refurbishment will be very significantly underway. We'll have moved into the next stage of 5 forms of entry. We'll have 2 years of 5 forms of entry under our belt. So the school will be well underway with the further stage of its expansion. So I must admit, I will feel that I'll be leaving the school in a good place. We had the great and exciting news a few weeks ago that we had been selected and designated as one of only 80 national teaching school hubs in the country. So it feels like a time when I will be handing over the baton with the school in good health, growing, still with national recognition, and with a very bright and positive future ahead of it. I won't be without things to occupy me when I've handed over the headship. In January 2022, I take on the role as president of the International Confederation of Principals, not by any means a full-time job, but still something that will keep me out of mischief. It was a role that pre-pandemic involved a lot of travel. I have a feeling it'll be a little less travel and a bit more Zoom nowadays, but I think there may still be one or two things that will occupy my time. And I've got to be honest with you, there is one other motivation behind the timing, and that is that I took over as a head teacher in January 1999. And the piece I wrote for the Weekly Word today, I quote T.S. Eliot, "In my end is my beginning." And I had no idea when I took over in January 1999 that I'd still be in post 23 years later. But I must admit, over the last few years, one of my predecessors that I've had in my sights has been Colonel Wheeler, Cordy Wheeler, who has been the school's longest serving head teacher. And Cordy clocked up 23 years as head teacher of Lawrence Sheriff School, spanning the period of the Second World War. When I get to December 31st, 2021, then I will have done 23 years as well, but it's going to be 23 years and a bit, because I clocked up just over half a term as acting head teacher during the period that Dr. Pogson was seconded to the local authority in 1998, helping to begin the process of setting up the Warwickshire Art Zone. So it's a bit pathetic, really, but I would rather like to step down, having become the school's longest serving head teacher, and that's what that will enable me to do. But you might be thinking, okay, that's what you're going to do. Why are you telling us now in March? Well, the reason is I'd far rather be open and take you into my confidence than pretend nothing was happening until the last moment. Today is the day that the head teacher job appears in the education press. I suppose I could have just pretended it wasn't happening, and if someone said, "I think I saw your job advertised," I'd say, "Really? Really? Oh dear, that's news to me." But it wouldn't have been great, would it? It's been really good to hear from parents over recent months how much they've appreciated these video messages, how much they've appreciated, as it were, being taken into my confidence and my thought processes. And it seemed the only right thing to do, that when, as it were, the news starts to go public, that you are the first ones to know. I did give advance notice of my intentions to my colleagues on the staff just before Christmas, as you would, I hope, expect me to do so. But I wanted you to be the next ones to know. And obviously there is now going to begin a process of recruitment. The school has got lots of time to do this. We're very fortunate, we're very blessed with the calibre of our governing body, with Sue Peach, who leads the governing body with great expertise. And all of that will mean that the next stage of the school's development is in extremely good hands. And I'm very confident that they will make the very best appointment for the future of Lawrence Sheriff, and the best appointment to take the school onto the next stage of its brilliant development. I remember when I told my colleagues just before Christmas, I said the biggest problem for me was how much I was going to miss everybody when I finished as head teacher. Words cannot express what a wrench it's going to be when the time comes to leave Lawrence Sheriff, to leave the opportunity to work with all of you. I've always said that it's a privilege to work at this school. It's been a greater privilege than words can express to be head teacher of this school, and it will remain a brilliant privilege until the 31st of December 2021.